across the tournament, stopping their battle for only a second as Jiren's power rocked the arena, is Lazulya and the kamikaze fireballs. The Universe 2 fighters proved to be rather proficient warriors, constantly keeping the fusion on the back foot, while Harmira and Rabanra kept Krillin busy. Luckily, Lazulya used her psycho threads and infinite energy to stay in the fight. However, it seemed the power of love kept Ribrianne topped up as well. The fireball made sure to comment on Lazulya's long curly hair, though the lull in battle causes her to notice the fusion's worry of Krillin. Guessing the two were somehow a thing, the magical girl goes on to insult Krillin, asking why Lazulya would be with someone so short and ugly. Now, while she isn't with Krillin, the fusion still has that love for him that 18 had, and hearing someone badmouth him, well, that just wasn't gonna fly. The blue baddie raises both hands up, crossing them over her chest while jumping back. Rosie and Kakunsa fall for the bait, rushing in, only to be caught in psycho threads, struggling to break free, which only results in their energy being drained faster. Lazulya quickly throws up an android barrier as a giant love cannon is fired in her direction, incinerating the threads and freeing the two girls. This worries the fusion as she didn't have much up her sleeves other than using those threads, and Ribrianne could blow through them like nothing. She fought best in a group as her abilities were usually better suited to supporting others, but with Krillin pinned down by that sniper and the others all far away, she was in a real tough pickle. Quickly raising both hands up, she fired off a volley of ki blast, intent on at least holding the magical girls back while trying to come up with a plan. Ribrianne rushes in, tanking the blast and crashing into the fusion, forcing Lazulya prone against the ground. Rosie and Kakunsa thank their leader for stepping in, only to then suddenly freeze up, sensing an evil presence behind them. Machikayo used his body to envelop both magical girls, quickly draining their energy and growing back into his original muscular form.
Ah, much better. You, Ribrianne, I'll take your power too. With it, I can defeat that damned bug from Universe 7.
Machikayo unwittingly ends up saving Lazulya from being eliminated as he engages the magical girl. The fusion sits up, checking over herself before quickly looking over towards Krillin. The monk was doing pretty well against Rabanra, drawing him close to the edge of the ring, seemingly in order to set up a ring out. Yet, when a sniper shot rings out, Krillin is sent staggering back, holding his shoulder, clearly injured. Lazulya races over and uses a slide attack to kick Rabanra away, checking up on her partner. "Oh, don't worry about me, Lazulya. I've had much worse, especially against the Saiyans." Krillin tried laughing it off, but moving that much made his shoulder hurt more. The fusion wasn't buying it either way, but a sniper shot made her turn around, putting a hand up to block said shot, yet it was too powerful. The blast connects with her forearm, and for the first time as a fusion, they were greatly injured. Their forearm had been nearly blown off, Lazulya screaming out as she wrapped thousands of threads around the wound. While distracted, the sniper decided to fire another blast, giving the girl no time to react. Yet, as she watched it race right for her stomach, an orange figure jumped out, carrying a yellow disc that was thrown forward and cut through the bullet like butter. The blast split in two, striking the ground near Lazulya and kicking up clouds of dust, but she remained still. She was completely outmatched here. For years, all she'd done is provide backup, and now, when it really mattered, she was utterly useless. Since the tournament began, she was on the back foot, every move being countered, only lasting this long due to opportunistic fighters and Krillin's expertise. She looked at the martial artist who, despite being smaller in frame than everyone, slower in speed, and far weaker in terms of power, was still willing to fight. "Are you alright, Lazulya? Come on. I think I know where he is. It should be right around all that rubble that you and Ribrianne kicked up earlier. If we can get close enough, I can use a solar flare and blind him, setting you up for an elimination. Krillin turned around to face his partner, only to see her crying? Come on, Lazulya, we can do this. It isn't over yet. I need you if we're gonna beat this guy. But I'm not like you, Krillin. The fusion spoke softly, blowing away the dust, their cover dissipating, leaving them only seconds to move. I used to think the same way about Goku. I could never live up to that guy, but I'm not him. Neither are you. I'm not gonna stop trying my best, and neither should you. So come on, I'll do what I can to support you from here on out. Krillin held his hand out to the fusion, who wiped away her tears and took it. He was right. He wasn't like Goku, but that's why 18 loved and admired him, and why Zongia thought he was a pretty brave guy for even joining this tournament. Holding each other's uninjured hands, the two raced forward, both watching for where the sniper shot would come from. Luckily, Prum had been eliminated by Lazulya earlier, which meant Hermila had to shoot at them directly, and once he did, the two were able to see exactly where he was. The Birdman knew what they were up to, and so aimed at their hands to break the pair apart, which would make it easier to hit the dwarf with a follow-up shot. He'd then retreat further into the rubble and pick off the fusion once she came in. However, as he watched their movements, his plan quickly fell apart. Lazulya held tight onto Krillin's hand, swinging him around and around before throwing him in Hermila's direction. The sniper scoffs, quickly aiming for the dwarf, eyes fixated on his shiny bald head. Right as a solar flare popped off. Hermila is blinded to say the least, with Lazulya rushing in, closing the distance within the blink of an eye and driving her fist directly into the bird's stomach. This doesn't knock him out immediately, but a subsequent roundhouse kick takes care of that. The fusion excited about the combo her and Krillin made. "Ah, Lazulya!" Krillin shouted out, causing her to turn around, watching as Ribrianne, now injured and scuffed up, holds the dwarf in one hand and charges a pink heart with the other. "Let him go! Fight me instead!" Lazulya rushed forward, but it was too late. A heart-shaped ki blast blew Krillin out into the void, causing him to be Universe 7's first eliminated fighter. Lazulya tried to use her threads to rescue the dwarf, but this opened her up for a knee strike to the stomach. The magical girl follows up with a flurry of punches, pushing Lazulya closer and closer to the edge. The attacks hit hard, but not as hard as earlier. She's slowed down compared to when the tournament started, and was rapidly burning through her power in order to deal damage to the fusion. She had lost her temper, and was just trying to finish things as quickly as possible. But that meant she was weakening, which meant Lazulya could do this. The fusion thought about her love for Krillin, for her kids, Marin, May, and Soma, even the love for her brother. Ribrianne had been spouting off about love this entire time, but she didn't understand a damn thing about it. And Lazulya was about to teach that little girl a lesson. As the fusion stumbled by the edge, Rianne backed off in order to charge up a giant love cannon, yelling that she'd pour in all the love she had for those that had been eliminated. The fusion looked up, aiming her remaining hand in retaliation, right as Krillin shouted out, "Go, Lazulya! You can do this!" The 18 inside of her made Lazulya smile, charging up an infinity bullet as a plan came to mind. Once Brienne fired off her love cannon, the fusion jumped into the air, using her blast to further blow herself up. You know, being so badly outclassed, feeling useless, feeling as if she couldn't do anything, had inspired the fusion. Perhaps she couldn't become as powerful as Cell, or was as driven as Pui Pui, but something she'd always do was stand up to protect her family. The android Heron hybrid slammed down into the arena behind Ribrianne, who turned around to see her opponent had transformed. Lazulya was coated in millions of threads, all glowing red and black, forming a skin-tight suit of energy that the magical girl thought was incredibly ugly looking. You can't be serious. Something like that could never defeat my beautiful love. But Ribrianne was forced to reconsider her stance as an elbow to the stomach made her spit up.
Yeah, I know. But allow me to show you my love.
Lazulya spun in the air, landing a kick on the back of Ribrianne's neck, sending her crashing into the arena. The crater was massive, causing part of the affected Kachikachin to fall into the void, something that frightened the Universe 2 fighter. Brienne quickly recovered, jumping away from the edge and demanding to know how the fusion got so powerful. All the girl does in response is look to Krillin, who is still cheering her on. Ribrianne, in turn, looks to her own comrades, then to the gods of her universe, who pull out their love wands. Those who were eliminated begin cheering her on as well, and as they do, the magical girl can feel her power swelling with love, so much so that it overflows into a pair of giant, translucent wings. Surely, with this power granted by the gods and her comrades, she will squash Lazulya. Rushing in, the magical girl begins throwing hands once more, though the fusion creates a shield out of threads, easily blocking several blows before bashing Brienne in the face, causing her to stumble back. While dazed, Lazulya kicks straight up, landing a heavy blow to her opponent's jaw, further shaking Brienne's resolve and brain. The magical girl can't understand. How could someone like her be this powerful? How could she possibly push herself this far from just the adoration of one person? But a subsequent knee to the back of her head shakes the girl out of said thought process, bringing her back to reality, having just now realized that her power had been drained. Without another word, Lazulya swings around and delivers a kick that sends the strongest warrior of Universe 2 right out of the ring. With the immediate threat dealt with, the various threads around her come undone, and she falls onto her back. Despite having an infinity engine, whatever power that was put a strain on her body, along with the wound she'd suffered earlier. While she tried to stay awake, Lazulya found her eyelids heavy, and they began to fall, right as a giant white creature formed in the middle of the arena. Back at the battle between Boo and Jiren, things weren't looking good for the bubblegum monster. He had tried creating several clones to surround the great alien, using the Kamehameha, Gallic Gun, Final Kamehameha, and the Special Beam Cannon, but nothing in the creature's arsenal could even scratch Jiren. The genie was running out of options, and his body manipulation was starting to fail to keep him safe, since Jiren began simply blasting him away over and over and over again. The good thing was that Boo wasn't instantly blown away, which is why he was still in the arena. This was getting exhausting though, as Boo simply continued to reform, get blasted, then reform, and repeat. Every time he came back, the creature could only look up at Jiren and see a monster. No, a god that had come to punish him for what happened centuries ago. But that's when he got an idea. Putting every bit of his power into defense, meaning the next time Jiren attacked, he was instead blown apart, scattering hundreds of pieces of his body around the arena. The many bits of Boo reformed and charged Jiren, only to be decimated, but they served as a distraction. Boo had hid two small pieces of his body by Jiren's feet while his main body reformed. Once Jiren fired another attack, the two pieces jumped up and began to absorb the alien. The genie had no idea if this was against the rules, but he had to do something about this guy, and absorption was his last resort. Boo reformed and joined his pieces in order to subdue the alien, something that seemed possible at first as he struggled to hold back the creature. But when Boo's magic failed to shrink him and his power began to rise, the genie found himself blown back once more. Only this time, Jiren holds a hand out, surrounding Boo with a ball of fiery ki before electrocuting the genie. This pain, the pain that Jiren was able to inflict on Boo, was something he had never felt before. Not even Janemba could hold a candle to what this guy was capable of, and he had nearly ended the genie back then. It was enough to completely incapacitate the monster, and that was before the giant explosion went off. Without giving Boo even a second to recover, Jiren grabbed him by the antenna, punched him hard in the stomach, and sent him flying into the void. And like that, rather unceremoniously, Boo was the second person to be eliminated from Universe 7. But that's where we'll be leaving things off for right now. If you enjoyed the video, maybe you'd like some of the other content on my channel. But even if you don't check that out, thank you for getting this far into the intro, as most people always just leave as soon as they hear the but. Anyways, you guys have a good day or night wherever you are. That's it for now. Bye-bye.